Most men spend their lives confused, chasing love, validation, and happiness from women, only to end up heartbroken, used, or trapped. But 200 years ago, a philosopher named Arthur Schopenhauer exposed the raw truth about female nature. Truths so brutal, most men refuse to accept them. By the end of this, you'll see exactly where you've been deceived and how to finally take back control. So pay attention, because what you're about to hear isn't just controversial. It's the missing key most men will never grasp. Schopenhauer didn't believe in fairy tales. He saw love for what it really is. Not a spiritual bond, not destiny, but a biological trick. A ruthless illusion designed by nature for one purpose: reproduction. Here's the uncomfortable truth. When you feel that electric attraction, that obsessive desire, that conviction that she's the one, your brain isn't connecting with her soul. It's calculating, subconsciously assessing fertility, genetic compatibility, survival advantages. And women? Their attraction works the same way, just with different priorities. Schopenhauer wrote, "Love is the ultimate goal of almost all human effort. It is more important than anything else in life." But he didn't mean that romantically. He meant it as a trap. A fleeting chemical high that fades the moment it serves its purpose. Think about it. How many men have destroyed themselves for a woman who later walked away without a second thought? How many marriages crumble once the passion evaporates? That's not coincidence. It's nature's design. Women don't choose men based on fairness, loyalty, or even logic. They follow an ancient selection program, hardwired to seek status, security, and genetic superiority. A man's devotion means nothing if he can't provide these. Schopenhauer saw this clearly. Women are rarely guided by reason. They are ruled by instinct and emotion. This isn't misogyny, it's observation. Look at dating apps, where 80% of women compete for the top 20% of men. Look at divorce courts, where commitment is rewarded with financial ruin. Look at history, where kings died for mistresses who betrayed them. The pattern doesn't change because the biology doesn't change. Most men believe love is mutual, that if they sacrifice enough, care enough, prove their worth, they'll be rewarded. But Schopenhauer warned, to be loved, one must not be just, but clever. Women don't fall for nice, they fall for strength, not just physical, but social, financial, psychological. This is why the good guy finishes last. Not because he's unworthy, but because he misunderstands the game. He thinks love is earned through service. Women, by instinct, are drawn to men who don't need to serve. Ever noticed how women lose interest once they've secured a man? How the chase reverses. Schopenhauer called it the tragedy of possession. The thrill isn't in having, it's in conquering. Once the conquest is over, biology moves on. That's why men who cling too hard, who make her the center of their world, inevitably watch her walk away. But here's the twist. This isn't women's fault. It's nature's. And the man who understands this, he stops blaming. He starts strategizing. Schopenhauer's lesson isn't to hate women. It's to see them clearly. To recognize that love isn't a fantasy. It's a negotiation. And the man who negotiates from weakness loses every time. But this is just the beginning. Because the next truth, it's even darker. It explains why modern men are being outplayed in every arena and how to flip the script. Stick around, because what comes next is where most men realize they've been lied to their entire lives. Schopenhauer saw what most men today still refuse to admit. The rules of attraction aren't fair. They aren't logical. And they certainly aren't in your favor. While modern society preaches equality, biology operates on a different set of laws. And the man who ignores this? He's already lost. Here's the brutal reality. Women hold the ultimate leverage in relationships, not because they're cruel, but because nature designed them to be selectors. From the moment puberty hits, a woman's value in the sexual marketplace peaks, while a man's must be built through struggle, status, and survival. Schopenhauer put it bluntly. Women are suited to being the nurses and teachers of our childhood by the very fact that they themselves are childish, frivolous, and short-sighted. He wasn't insulting them. He was highlighting an evolutionary truth. A woman's youth and beauty are her currency, and she instinctively knows how to spend it. Look around. The average man today is drowning in a paradox. He's told to be emotionally vulnerable, while women still chase dominance. He's shamed for wanting traditional masculinity while strong. Alphas still dominate dating apps. He's worked to exhaustion, providing in a system that rewards him with divorce courts and paternity tests. Schopenhauer warned of this centuries ago. Women are directly fitted for acting as the nurses and teachers of childhood by the fact that they are themselves childish, frivolous, and short-sighted. In a word, they are big children all their lives. But here's where it gets dangerous. Modern women haven't just embraced their power, they've weaponized it. Social media has turned attention into an economy, and the average man is the unpaid laborer. He simps, he orbits, he competes for scraps of validation from women who'll never commit to him. Why? Because he's been sold a lie. That devotion alone is enough. Schopenhauer saw the trap long before dating apps and the modern Me Too. Women are systematically trained to be incapable of genuine love. This sounds harsh until you realize what he meant. Female love is conditional. It's tied to utility. A man isn't cherished for who he is, but for what he provides. The moment he stops providing, the love fades. This isn't cynicism, it's survival. Women are hardwired to seek the best possible mate. If a man stagnates, she will resent him. If he falls behind, she will replace him. And modern society, it cheers her on. Schopenhauer divided men into two categories, those who serve and those who are served. The beta male exhausts himself trying to prove his worth. The alpha commands worth effortlessly. One begs for loyalty, the other inspires obsession. You see this everywhere. The office worker who sacrifices his health for a promotion, hoping it'll make his wife respect him again. The gym rat who transforms his body, only to realize women now want him, but only for sex, not commitment. The simp who spends his paycheck on a girl who'll ghost him the second a higher status man appears. These men aren't victims, they're volunteers. But Schopenhauer didn't just diagnose the problem, he revealed the solution. The first rule of survival is to see the world as it is, not as you wish it to be. The man who thrives today isn't the one who clings to outdated romanticism. It's the one who masters the game. And the final truth is rigged, but only if you're playing by the wrong rules. This is where most men give up, because the next truth is the hardest to swallow. It's not about women, it's about you. And the moment you face it, everything changes. Schopenhauer uncovered a disturbing truth that modern psychology now confirms. Women don't compete like men. They don't challenge you directly. They don't flex their power where you can see it. Their greatest weapon is invisible, instinctive, and devastatingly effective: emotional influence. While men fight with fists or logic, women wage war through perception. They don't conquer. They manipulate reality itself. Consider this. When a man wants something, he demands it. When a woman wants something, She makes you believe it was your idea. Schopenhauer saw this clearly. Women are adapted to a sedentary life by their lack of physical strength, and to the care of children by their natural inclination. Hence, they live more in the present than men. But this present moment focus gives them a dangerous advantage. They read micro-expressions, tone shifts, and social dynamics with near supernatural accuracy. A man thinks he's having a conversation. A woman is conducting an interrogation. Modern men believe they're in control of their relationships. They're wrong. From the first date to the divorce papers, women guide the interaction through subtle tests. Most men fail without realizing it. The compliance test, how quickly you rearrange your schedule for her. The frame test, whether you stand your ground or cave to her emotions. The investment test, if you chase more than she does. Schopenhauer warned, women are instinctively crafty and have an innate talent for deception. This isn't evil, it's evolutionary programming. In a world where physical strength didn't secure survival, emotional intelligence became the ultimate currency. The woman who couldn't navigate male psychology didn't pass on her genes. Here's where modern men walk blindly into the trap. They confuse a woman's attention for genuine interest. But Schopenhauer revealed the dark reality. Women are most drawn to men who don't need them. The moment you make a woman your purpose is the moment she loses respect for you. This explains why nice guys finish last. Why marriages crumble after men sacrifice their ambitions. Why women pursue emotionally unavailable men. It's not that women want to be treated poorly. They're biologically wired to seek men of higher value. And nothing destroys perceived value faster than neediness. Every interaction with a woman contains an unspoken power struggle. Most men lose before they realize the battle began. She cries to avoid accountability. She withholds affection to train compliance. She flirts with others to test your confidence. Schopenhauer called this the tyranny of the weak. Women leverage their perceived vulnerability to control stronger adversaries. A man who falls for it becomes a slave. A man who recognizes it, he becomes unstoppable. But there's hope. Schopenhauer's most liberating truth is this. The first step to freedom is seeing the chains. Once you understand female nature isn't personal, it's biological, you stop taking it personally. You stop begging for loyalty and start inspiring it. The final lesson. The most dangerous lies aren't the ones women tell men. They're the ones men tell themselves. Schopenhauer's most devastating revelation wasn't about women. It was about the cold, unflinching reality of human nature itself. After exposing the brutal truths of attraction and power dynamics, he offered something far more valuable: the path to liberation. This isn't about defeating women. It's about transcending the game entirely. Modern men make one fatal error. They believe happiness comes from female validation. Schopenhauer saw through this illusion. The happiness which we receive from ourselves is greater than that which we obtain from our surroundings. The men who thrive aren't those who conquer women, but those who conquer themselves. They develop a purpose so consuming, so intrinsically rewarding, that female attention becomes a pleasant bonus rather than a life or death necessity. History's most remarkable men, the artists, the inventors, the warriors, weren't distracted by the chase. They were too busy building empires. Here are the 3 pillars of unshakable masculinity. 1. Economic sovereignty. Schopenhauer warned that money is human happiness in the abstract, not for what it buys, but for the freedom it secures. The man who controls his finances controls his fate. 2. Philosophical depth. Most men live on autopilot. The exceptional man cultivates a mind sharp enough to cut through societal lies. He reads, debates, and thinks for himself. 3. Physical mastery. The body isn't just a tool for attraction, it's the vessel of your will. Weakness here breeds weakness everywhere. Here's where Schopenhauer's wisdom becomes revolutionary. The safest way of not being very miserable is not to expect to be very happy. This isn't pessimism, it's emotional armor. The modern man who stops begging for love, approval, or fairness suddenly finds these things come to him. Why? Because he's removed himself from the desperate masses. He's become the prize. The battle between men and women isn't personal. It's biological theater playing out across millennia. The man who wakes up to this stops blaming and starts evolving. He doesn't resent female nature. He adapts to it. He builds a life so compelling that women must either meet his standards or watch from the sidelines.